Overall, chapter 3 details how Jesus came to reveal the character and nature of God towards us. In the way that we see Jesus talk to Nicodemus, it just shows us that it's okay to ask questions. We don't know it all. And if we think we do, there's always more to know. And God is waiting for us to come to Him to ask those questions to get a better understanding. But one thing I want to highlight that's so important and that can help you in your journey, getting to know God and also dealing with others who ask you questions. It comes from verse 12 and it reads, "But if you don't believe me when I tell you about earthly things, how can you possibly believe if I tell you about heavenly things?" Think about that. If God is speaking to us, do we believe? And so, do we find ourselves getting mad when we do receive an answer, but we just don't believe? It teaches us a great lesson for ourselves and for dealing with people who we are pouring into or maybe come to us for wisdom. The lesson is, if someone cannot see the need for spiritual transformation, what more can we tell them? That's what Jesus was doing here with Nicodemus. Nicodemus knew a lot, but he didn't know everything. And when Jesus was speaking to him, he was kind of dumbfounded. And Jesus was like, look, if I tell you about earthly things, you can't believe me. What more can I tell you about heaven? And that's how we should be. We shouldn't cast our pearls to just anybody. You'll know when it's a hungry heart, and you'll know by God leading you. You just have to know what season you're in and where you're at and what you are to say when people do come to you. Some people are going to come and they're just not going to understand, but that's where you get to come in and say, ask the Holy Spirit to help you. That's who has helped me. It's all about transformation. It's all about personal revelation that comes to a personal relationship. It's not about being attached to anything or anyone but God. And so you sharing that just encourages or should encourage others to run after Jesus on their own and to really seek the truth. What does verse 6 say? Verse 6 says, humans can reproduce only human life, but the Holy Spirit gives birth to spiritual life. So we could talk all day, but you'll never understand the spiritual truths without being reborn. God, come into our hearts. Open my heart, God. Come, teach me something new. Teach me something different. I want to see with your eyes, God, not with my own. I know that I can overcome in you. Teach me, God, and I'll be careful to follow your ways. It's the only way. So I encourage you to open your heart and ask the Holy Spirit to become real so that you can see. And believe me, you are going to love it. You will never regret it. It's so wonderful. In short, my lesson from chapter 3 is I need to evaluate my life and make sure that I am walking with God and surrounding myself with people like-minded. I want to be putting God first. And I know that that's the sure way for me to know that everything's okay and everything will be okay. So I encourage you. Chapter 3 is very short, but there's so much in it. I just wanted to give you a little glimpse so that you could go in for yourself and that you can read it. And I promise you he'll speak to you and you'll be so happy. And reach out to me if you need help. I'm here. We can talk about it. Because when you come to him with an open heart and ask him to come in and speak to you, removing all distractions, you will hear him. Thank you for allowing me to share a little glimpse in chapter 3. And like I said, it's a short chapter. Read it for yourselves and be encouraged. God bless you, wonderfuls.